like relative minors. So like Ionian relative minor is Aeolian, but Lydian, for example, relative minor of Lydian is actually Dorian. They're actually identical, with the only difference being the third being lowered or raised for a major triad at the start.
Okay.
So let me go back to the more easier to hear everything. So Lydian,
Right, the raised 4.
but the Dorian is the minor version.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the relative minor,
Right.
and it works when if you go look at this and you change it to a flat here. Oh, sorry. Or no, that wouldn't work. Never mind. It would be just a relative minor. Now then I was thinking, okay, what about parallel majors and minors? Because actually the crazy thing I saw when we were watching a video talking about how would you write a mixolydian in a way that would feel like mixolydian as the modal music rather than just as like a dominant chord going to tonic. Like how would you feel like you're in this mixolydian color as like your home? And one of the best examples was actually the Final Fantasy 14 theme with the chocobo. The chocobo, yeah, yeah, um, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that is actually that is mixolydian mode. That you're in mixolydian here, and then and then you come back here, right? So it is Dorian. It is. I've been saying Dorian all day. It is mixolydian. So mixolydian, and then so mixolydian. Now the best way to hear mixolydian is actually to think of it as a Dorian but major. So Dorian is minor. So then the parallel major of Dorian is actually mixolydian. So you can think of almost like that. You get that adventurous feel of Dorian, which we were talking about at the beginning, early in the stream. But you get it, but you get the major version of it instead. So it's like you get the. Now think of it as. Right, the kind of that's the you get this major. Kind of the way that 8-bit music described it is as like goofy. It's because it's like the Dorian kind of, it has that drive to pull away from the tonic because it's minor. It's more serious that way. So it's like the adventures of going to these major, yeah, these major chords is like really strong. Like you want to get away from this minor, and you really have this pull to pull away. So all the 1, the 4, and the well, actually the 4 is major, but the 5 and the 1 and the 2, 5, 1 would all be minor chords. So everything but that is major. So it's like all of that is pulling you away from the center color of the scale. So it's like that adventurousness comes from pulling you up away from the start point, and that's what makes Dorian kind of more adventurous. And so then mixolydian kind of has the same kind of thing, kind of like adventurous thing to it, but it's major.
Major of the,
Yeah, so it's like you have
major.
basically a character that's instead of in turmoil or in some kind of conflict, then is driven to go on an adventure to resolve that conflict. You have a character who doesn't have this kind of tension, but is also willing to go on an adventure. So it's like, the chocobo. Think of like a chocobo is like doesn't really have like a real like conflict of like tension that is like pushing it to go on adventures, but it's like you think like a happy-go-lucky character that also is like for some reason decides to go on some adventurous thing, and then returns back to being go-lucky and happy. It doesn't really change with the stories. Like that you have basically a character that you have the main character that goes through the hero's journey that like changes as you come back, as like something drives them to leave. But then you have a character who's like happy and with where they are, but then they're also fine to like to go on the adventure as well. But then they don't really change when they come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, the chat volume, I can't change it. Well, maybe I can. Oh yeah, I'm in the mixing. Maybe I can change it. So that was something I was thinking about, like
Who
parallel
said
majors and
John?
minors.
Who is this in the chat? I can't even see.
That's Hansi. He's still in chat.
Oh.
How dare you, Hansi? How dare you? How dare you?
Yeah,
Mixing.
modes is something that I've never really studied, and like I can hear them when I do hear them, I know like what it should sound like, but I like the names of the modes I'm not like that good at yet.
Volume mixer.
I just brushed. What do you say? Brush my teeth.
There we go. I can turn it down. Music theory ASMR, that's right, that's right. Maybe if I should talk in this voice, and then you will be very calm and relaxed as you hear about the concepts of music theory. Oh, it's creepy. Okay, I don't know how to do. I don't know, whatever. Okay, so yeah, I can turn down Axel chat, and that way it won't ping as loud. That actually works. Me when Mixolydian thumbs up. Chocobo theme. Hansi is your biggest fan, Joel. You have a biggest fan. It's Hansi music. Nice. Okay, so then I was like, okay, what about the other modes? Are there other modes that have a parallel major minor relationship that stay within their relative keys, right? It's crazy. It's cool how Mixolydian and Dorian are relative keys while also being parallel major minor of each other. So then what would be other relationships? So I looked at Ionian. Of course, let's look at Ionian. So C major. So then let's look at the minor parallel. So then you get that minor major, right? That's that minor major sound. Okay, and then, so that's a minor major scale that isn't in the wheel of relative keys, but is technically a scale nearby. Now, the crazy mind-blowing part was for me to realize that harmonic minor, if you look at Phrygian, let's look at Phrygian. So the Phrygian is on the third. And that's what we were thinking of before the, like I think of like say the Spire music we were talking about. I honestly hear a lot of Phrygian quality in it because of the chromatic motions, but it's not. It's actually in natural minor, but it really fools me into hearing like it's a Phrygian kind of the tensions and tones of Phrygian in there. Now Phrygian is minor because the chord on one is minor. It's a minor mode, if you will, of diatonic. Now, if we go, let's say, what is the parallel major of Phrygian? Well, what if we it's a rotation of a harmonic scale. So this is harmonic minor. Now the only thing so this is where the harmonic minor comes from, is it's actually a parallel minor. It's a parallel major of Phrygian, I was thinking. Okay, so then I was like, well, let's test this everywhere else. Now the only problem here is that the tonic would have to be A, right, for this to be a harmonic minor. So this means that the Phrygian is a fourth away, or a fourth down from the A minor. So that's a fourth away, not the classic third away that we usually are.
Interesting.
So we're usually a third away, right? Usually parallel minor. Usually, well, no, parallel minor. Oh yeah, so it wouldn't. You wouldn't get
relative.
yeah, it would be like relative. So yeah, so you wouldn't have the parallel, it wouldn't really work. So you don't really have anything, but you have kind of something that if you rotate out of that parallel, you would arrive eventually at a harmonic minor, right? So there's something, it's something tied to a harmonic minor. Maybe it's a mode of harmonic minor, right? What would be the mode? It would be the Mixolydian mode of harmonic minor. It is. It is. It is actually the it's the Mixolydian of harmonic minor, basically. That is Phrygian. Okay, so then, well, that means that if we go, what is that? If it's the Mixolydian, all we need to do is go up a fourth, and we get the parallel. We get the harmonic minor as a parallel, as a parallel minor of something major. So what would be the parallel major of harmonic minor? It would be a fourth up from Phrygian. Well, it would be the A. So it'd be the well, see, that's the thing. So it's based off of the Aeolian. It is literally just off of that. That's why it's just one key change. So there's no way that the harmonic, yeah, it is a separate scale, but so the parallel, yeah, there's no origin there, is there, from somewhere else? Yeah, I'm trying to like look through this. Okay, so let's look at Lydian. Okay, let's look at Lydian. So then if Lydian had a parallel minor, it'd be, but then you have the E natural. So it's like a major, yeah, that's what I wrote down, is major harmonic. So that's like a major
Well,
scale.
but you know, to really have a
Right?
minor, you need to flatten the 6 and the 7 of the
If
mode.
you
So,
want
but
Aeolian, yes. Oh, you're saying
you're not
flatten
doing that.
both? Oh, I should flatten
The
both?
third, the 6th, and the 7 all need to be flattened for it to be a minor. You can't just flatten the
Well,
third.
that's just Aeolian by definition, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you're saying like the parallel? No, the parallel doesn't have to, right?
When you say you're making a mode into a minor,
Oh, yeah, I
what
have
I'm
to lower
seeing you
6 and
do
7. Oh, the parallel has to be lower 6 and 7 as well. Okay,
what I'm
okay, okay,
seeing
okay,
you
that
do
makes
is just
sense.
you're just
You're just
lowering
lowering
the
third.
third.
I'm just lowering the third. You're right, you're
It's not
right.
enough.
You're totally
Yeah.
right. You're totally right. You're totally right. Okay, so then this is Aeolian, of course. The parallel, well, so they're both relative and parallel when it comes to Ionian and Aeolian. Okay, so then, all right, let's
In
get rid of
Lydian,
all this.
so in Lydian, let's take F, F, start from F, and you lower the third, 6th, and 7. What do you get? What is that?
So let's see. So in Lydian, Lydian would be, so we have A flat, E flat, D flat, E flat. A flat, D flat, E flat. Okay, I'm gonna hold my hand there so I don't forget. So where's the, so C? What if we start on C? It's Phrygian. Is it not? Oh,
Oh,
it's
no,
not.
no, no,
No, we're missing the B flat.
no, no. So you wouldn't flatten D. Just play a normal minor in C ma in sorry, play C minor scale.
Uh,
Play a C minor scale, but raise the F to an F sharp.
F to an F sharp.
Yeah, would
Okay.
be that would be the Lydian mode, but with the 3, 6, and 7 flattened.
Right, I see. Because you're raising the 4. That's all you're really doing.
So what is that? What mode would this be?
Well, this wouldn't be a mode anymore because it wouldn't be a rotation of the Ionian mode, right? It wouldn't be a relative key anymore. But it's a way to get away from the diatonic to other colors. It's a way to transpose
Well,
away.
what was the So what was the thing you did at the first time when you got the Mixolydian mode and like you made it major and it gave you a different mode? What was that thing that you did?
Um, so I just lowered the third, but if I lower 6 and 7 as well to properly go to a parallel minor, yeah.
Does that fuck up the whole thing?
Well, yeah, it fucks up all this, what I wrote here. Yeah,
Yeah.
it does, because I was
Okay.
only lowered the third. I wasn't actually
Okay.
properly doing a parallel minor the way that we know. I'm using terms of like using a parallel minor to see if I get keys that otherwise don't belong in the relative wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, melodic minor is just major at the top.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, it's a minor major basically. Maybe that's the yeah. So okay, so let's figure out what the note orders are, and then I'll just go to the website and see what the website says on like those 500 scales website that I
Hmm.
was looking at earlier. I'm curious what I will get, basically. Um, where was the link? I posted it in the general here, didn't I? Yes, I did. Okay, okay. Let's see. Um, so I don't know if you were here for this, Joel, but this was like a whole thing.
Let me see.
So this Daqarta is basically it's not mainly about scales, but this is the page where it will give you every single combination of the 7 letters in different iterations and stuff, and it will give you all the names. So you could literally just type
Mhm.
in Control F and just type in a certain order or
So
something, and it will tell
like
you what the like an it'll give me it gives you a starting point for like um different scales.
that's handy.
That yeah, it was really handy. We were looking at Hungarian minor at one point, which is what we actually arrived at as being the scale. For what? Oh, as the scale for Slay the Spire. This is the scale that Slay the Spire uses.
So kind of like the Arabic thing.
Yes, it is. It is. It's like I think when we scrolled up here, one term they used was gypsy, which is like Hungarian technically. Yeah, Arabic. There are Arabic scales like here.
I
This
think
is
I think to get I
Arabian.
think to get I think to get more Arabic you have to flatten the two. Ooh, interesting.
So you have a minor tetrachord. What is this? It's the same tetrachord back to back. So you have a whole step, half step, whole step. Then you have whole step, half step, whole step, back to back, a half step apart.
So what's the mode? I think it's
Is that
slightly
8
Arabic when
notes?
it starts like
I think that's a sorry, one sec. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that's an 8-note scale, by the way. That's a octatonic scale. Arabian is octatonic.
well the really like Arab
Maybe.
sound that I'm hearing in my head is like I hit play C and then D flat and then E F.
Yeah, that.
That thing. So what's
Let's look it up.
yeah,
I love this
what is
website
that?
for that. C D, so it'll be without a space, and then it'll be 2 spaces for the E, and then F G A flat, right? B
Mhm.
B double harmonic. Does it show up
Okay.
more than once? It does. Byzantine and double harmonic seems to be the main one. There's Hungarian folk. Hungarian folk.
Interesting.
Yeah, so you have Hungarian folk, and then the Theta Berav. I don't really know what this is at all. So yeah, so you get 4 results
So
for that. Byzantine,
it's
double
yeah.
harmonic. It's double harmonic because you have this augmented step twice.
Mm.
So you have an augmented step here, and you have an augmented step here.
Very cool.
You can
It
also
makes you
raise
wonder
a scale
how
degree.
useful this.
Doled out is goaded. Doled out. Let's see what else Hans is saying. Yeah. Wait, you
What
said
did they
earlier
say?
how you were like gonna um the half step to the one chord in Phrygian, which makes the half step movement inside the spiral feel Phrygian, right? Yeah, it's the half step motion.
What is Joel Doubt? My, what does that mean?
I don't know. Joel Doubt is goaded. I don't know. This is a rotation, but you can
Hansi,
also
what does
raise a
Joel
scale
Doubt mean?
degree. I stay instead of rotation. Instead of rotation. If I keep chatting, oh yeah, I read this one. If I keep chatting so much, I will start losing chat privileges. No, that's fine. This is just making a more active of stream. I love that. No, totally fine. That is a 9. That is 9 keys, by the way. Which one is 9 keys? I doubted him, and we're correct. And we're correct. Grammar, please. I don't understand. I wish I understood. Okay, so let's check which scale was it? Okay, yeah, there was the double harmonic. Yeah, that was what he was wondering about. Hungarian folk, potentially. These are all. I love that this gives you at least something, so then you can look up this keyword and
Yeah,
then you can go on from there and research. I love this as a starting point for
fact.
discovering and looking at different enigmatic scale. Egyptian is. It dodges the third altogether. There's no third.
Oh, that's fucking weird, man.
That is weird. Gosh, that's a fun one. Gosh, that's a fun one. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine
That's
if you like
five
for
note,
Civ,
five
like
note
the
scale.
Civ 8 game, they like wrote in different scales as like time progresses, like how scales evolved, and like you would limit it and the limitations would change over time. That would be fucking wild. The
Hansi,
Arabic
explain
scale
what.
was 8 notes. Yeah, the Arabic no, yeah, the Arabic scale was 8 notes. It was an octatonic scale. Joel doubted you when starting a scale. Ron and doubt was valid and correct. So I said W Joel doubt. Double harmonic sounds super fun. Yeah, double harmonic does sound pretty fun. Um, so let me figure out at least Lydian. Okay, so if I do this, let's just at least sort out Lydian. Okay, so if we have Lydian is, let's say, okay, C, D, E, F sharp, right? G, A, B, C. Now, if we wanted to make it a minor relative, a parallel minor, right? Parallel minor. It's going to be E flat, right? We lower the third, and we get the F sharp still. We then lower the sixth and lower the seventh, right? To match up the pattern of whole steps and half steps. So then you get. Let's look that up.
Wait, play that again? Okay.
So, okay, so I'll put this here and then I'll like make this a little easier. Okay, boom. So let's look that up. So C, D, E flat, half step, right? And then a double space there for F sharp, all no match.
I think we just invented
We just invented a
a
scale
new
that
note,
doesn't
bro.
exist. I think there's 532 named musical scales in this page, and we found one that isn't named.
Oh my god.
Yeah, the F sharp, is it? Oh, because it's G. My bad. G flat. It's only flats. Lowercase for flats. There we go. I found it. Okay, there's no way. I was like, there's no way. Hungarian gypsy. Yeah.
See,
Okay.
the B flat is not a sound that I would ever use in that. I would just make it a B, you know? Yeah. That's what I would
Yeah.
just
Well,
my
because you
ear
want
would
to
go.
lead. So that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing I've
Yeah.
been thinking about a lot lately is like half steps are a huge deal in a scale. Like every
Mhm.
half step you have is associating intervals with each other. So let's look at this. So then you have the second and the third associated with each other here. Then you have the G flat, the tritone and the fifth and the sixth all together clumped up. But
Yep.
then you have a separation here of whole step and whole step. So you have a it's a bigger
Right.
jump to go between the -7 and the octave, and it's the same kind of jump to go from the -7 to the -6.
Mhm.
Like that would be a melody that would make sense. So then like when you're writing melody, you might be thinking about these things like, oh, how do I want the melody to maybe meander in these colors that are close to each other or associate with each other naturally through the scale, but then I might go to notes that are part of the scale but that
Right.
are further away from these colors.
Yeah.
So then you basically maybe like go like basically something like that, right? Like you could
Mhm.
write a melody that kind of grooves in to the scale really well. um Classic Hungarian. The scales are epic. Yeah. So Lydian minor, parallel minor is a Hungarian is Hungarian, which is really interesting. And then that works. I like if I compare those two, it works. Like I
See
understand
now
the
when we
connection. I can hear that. I can feel that.
yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, okay. I mean, when we say Lydian minor, is it really a valid thing to say that? You know, Lydian minor, because what you're really doing is you're saying let's slap like a what's the mode? Um Ionian, right? Slap that minor on Lydian. And that, so you're like combining two modes to make what you're calling Lydian minor, but do you see what I'm trying to say? Like, is it really
Yes, yes.
useful to
So
push two modes together?
yes, that's a good. So it's all about perspective, right? Like what perspective are you going to be able to demonstrate, or what kind of associations are you going to be able to demonstrate through your writing? So right, like a mode is only going to come through as a mode if that is the dominant color that is like the starting point that you're deviating from and coming back to. All those things are at play. You're not going to experience the mode in the sense like you're not going to taste the flavor of a food unless the food is like a front and center of the food or something, of like a
What is the
plate
name
or
of the
something.
what is the name of the A minor scale? That's not that's
Aeolian.
Ionian. Okay.
Yes.
So
A E
that's the
O
natural
A
minor.
N. Yeah,
So
that's the
that's
natural
the
minor that we're
natural
talking
minor.
about right now.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
Lydian combined with that gives you this
Yes.
what was
That's
it?
oh, so you're
A
just
gypsy
mixing
mode?
two. Yeah, gypsy. Yeah, Hungarian gypsy is what they named it there. Yes, Hungarian. Um,
So the
Hungarian gypsy. That was the term. Yeah, in
So
this
the
case.
aolification of any given mode will give you
Yes.
some combination, and that's kind of what you're looking
And
at
so
right
if
now.
you were to be like, I want to Aeolianify the Lydian color I'm on. If I want to
Yeah,
apply, what if I splash Aeolian color onto the Lydian color? What do I get? Right? That is
right.
basically like as a composer, you're thinking, here's a color I have. I want to change it in a specific way that words will not describe. But maybe they can, because you can be like, I want the Aeolian. If I put the Aeolian on, I'm going to get this other color. Just like if a
Yeah.
painter is like looking at like, oh, if I add this other color to this one and mix them, I'm going to get a new color. What is that new color? How do these colors how does this work? So this is like the same kind of,
Now, what you did before was you only changed one note. You changed
yes,
the
I only
third,
changed the
and
third and I got
you were
harmonic.
getting yeah. So you were getting different things with that, which was useful for you.
Yes, so
So
like the lower and
if
the
you want to
third
continue that
versus not.
logic,
Yeah.
you can go ahead and do that with, like, all the other modes and see what you get, you know? Because don't
Hmm.
let my flat 6, flat 7, like, throw you off with the thing you were doing.
Yeah, this is like crazy because I've always thought about like this is like what 532 scales. Like there must be
Yeah.
some way to understand how these everything relates to each other. Like there must be some way that you can like become a fucking, like Neo from the Matrix and be like, I know how to like fucking play this game, like I'm starting
Have
to
like
believe, I'm
five
starting to see all the
5D knowledge.
connections,
Right.
right? Like
Yeah,
I
5D
want to
knowledge.
know how I can jump from one to the other in a way that is like more sensical than just I moved a random note or something. Neural references in music theory. Yes,
300 IQ.
I am Morpheus, and I'm believing that there is something here, right? And then I just need a Neo to tell me or something. I don't know. Yeah. So,
What would yeah. What's Hansi saying? We don't believe we know.
we don't believe
Yeah,
we
true,
know.
true.
I know you are the chosen one.
Neo reference in music theory.
Uh-huh. 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 This is a great thing because it's like, I do think that like if you have a starting chord, I think there is merit to moving just the third down because you have this just like, this bass start, this major to minor parallel motion. I almost think of like the parallel major, parallel minor. Really, I don't think of it as like an extension with this minor, lower six and lower seven. The reason I was only moving the third down was because that's what we kind of think is like, oh, I'm moving to the parallel minor. It's really the one that's changing. I'm not really thinking
Mhm.
so much like, oh,
Yeah, I think you should extend your logic of just move the third down to the rest of the nodes that you are going to do.
like where in music, how would you implement the parallel major, parallel minor motion in composition? Like when would you move in parallel that way? I mean, I guess you could just say that parallel motion is just taking another rubric and rewriting the other one and then keeping some elements of it and some elements not keeping. So I guess like if you wanted to do a parallel minor, how much are we like introducing that, like the proportion, right? It's a sliding scale. Like I could
Yeah.
introduce the Aeolian minor effect by only lowering the third, which would
Right.
introduce it in a small amount, whereas I could really overwhelm the Lydian with the Aeolian, and
Yeah.
then you get that Hungarian gypsy scale.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that would be maybe a way of looking at it. So then if we lower just the third, that would be a much more like much more, I guess, like not as like, I don't know, it won't overpower the leading as heavily, but it'll
Mhm.
still introduce that. Yeah. So then you get the still, you know,
It's a more manageable change across the system. I think you should extrapolate that and not try to make everything a natural minor, the way I was saying.
but that was a good point. That was a really good catch. I'm happy that you caught that because I wasn't actually going to a parallel minor in the conventional sense of
I was
the
just
term,
for some
for
reason I was
sure.
being pedantic about that and it
No, no, no,
wasn't
that's not
necessary.
pedantic. That's like, yeah, I would rather. Yeah, no, no, totally, totally. Let's see what Hans is saying here. If you move to minor, you can move another half step down and get a sus4 back to the one. See, Hansi, you think a lot in like voice leading a lot. You're like thinking, okay, where are the voices moving? Like it just like how choirs always think about where the voices are moving compared to each other, which is like a separate conversation from colors, but it's a really important conversation because it's like how we might compel one color change to another or one scale change to another scale. Uh, being very convincing, being like, oh, these belong together. How do you make things belong together? Is through the voice leading. The voice leading is what makes it, is the strings that tie it all together. If you don't have voice leading, then it's just going to feel like a jump. Even the most similar colors could feel like a jump. If I go like this and like this, versus if I go like this, one felt like a jump, like a leap to a new color, even though the color was very similar. There's actually no different notes. It might as well be the same key or something, but it might be G major with the F sharp, right? So it could be versus, let's say, uh, that's much smoother, right? So because the motion is different, and so now you're like less of a jump. What would be another way to do it? No, 7, of course. Like that, right? Or like this, if I move down as well. So that's so smooth, right? It's like all these half-step motion in the voicing, but if I go like that felt much more jumpy. Voicing is
Much
something we can
jarring.
definitely talk about. Yeah. The voicing is all crooked. I'm triggering Hanzi with my leaps. Uh, yeah. Um, okay, so let's say that we're only introducing the lower third. But of course, lowering the third in Lydian is going to create anything that would create an augmented whole step is obviously going to cause a is going to cause what's it called? This augmented step. The augmented step ruins. I guess there is no overlap because if you have an augmented step, you're immediately out of the diatonic structure because
Right.
you're just immediately gone because you're not dealing with augmented steps anywhere, so it cannot possibly be a relative thing. So every time if you lower the third, you're almost always guaranteed to be stuck with this, except in that example from before, which was the Dorian versus the Mixolydian. The Dorian versus the Mixolydian, right? Is it not? Or actually, if we do, no, it was just the third. That's why I was only moving the third. Yeah, there has to be some other term for like just lowering the third or raising the third. But yeah, I don't know. When I think of like in music analysis of like a major going to a parallel minor, I never really think of it as moving all of those sixth and seventh steps down by half step on top of the third. That just feels like such a major jump that
Yeah.
usually I feel like you don't see that in writing. Um, I mean, would you go like what would be if you were on 4? I guess you could. I guess it just really works really well. There's so much pure intervals in the diatonic scale that it just works even when you're right.
Mhm.
Yeah, just kind of it's because it's the half step motion changes that work. But then if you go to other modes, maybe you don't get that, and you get that augmented step, and that augmented step just doesn't. And that is our way almost out of getting out of the diatonic into like the harmonic minor. Because like I would love to figure out how the harmonic minor what would be the most natural way to get to harmonic minor and melodic minor as well without it just being I'm just moving this pitch, or like what is the actual color relationship between those scales. Yeah, I'm just monologue research right now mode. Oh my gosh. So
This
it's
is why
like
you went crazy the other day.
well, this is what I do. I think about this. This is me just speaking like my brain out. It's a question of what color we want. Yeah, for sure. Um, so it's like you can move. It's like all about motion because this is the whole thing. The whole functional harmony question is like functional harmony is like I want to figure out how to slot that in. And I'm kind of trying to corner in on that because it's like color changes can be functional, right? This is essentially doing what I'm doing here to the Lydian is essentially the same as how you would move when it comes to function, right? It's like, oh, this chord belongs to the same scale, but then it's like has a different like the function of a 4 to a 1 relationship. So then what is the relationship between this color and this color? So like the relationship between relative scales, right? Relative keys is that they all share the same notes, right? Same
Mhm.
pitches. So relative keys, but then you have parallel, right? You technically can have parallel keys, which would maintain the same starting note but change, essentially change the scale. I mean, is parallel just literally anything? So like, would you say, would you argue? I mean, Joel, what are your thoughts on like being like, hey, these 532 scales, they're actually all parallel to each other as long as we start on C. Like,
It's pretty
is that
wild.
really
Um,
all the weight of just saying a parallel key is just the fact that we just end up not changing the start note? That's what a parallel key is, really, right?
mhm.
I mean, that is the most. So this is like one of the most useless terms when it comes to color ever. Like if you're talking about color, you would literally not give a shit about this almost at all.
Parallel key? I
I
thought
don't
that
know. It
just
would
meant
just
like
be the most useless. Like it doesn't help you get to understand connection between one color and another almost at
mm,
all, right? It's just
yeah.
it's a nonsensical. It's an on paper term, but there's nothing useful about the term.
Mhm.
I almost feel like I don't know. I mean, maybe in diatonic, it's like specifically that's the whole thing I'm trying to crack down on. Is there are things in like diatonic realm of just Western music theory that work within Western music theory, but as soon as you leave that particular world and you go to any other genre, you expand past that limitation or past that maybe like the rules that they might have imposed on themselves, you immediately all those associations, all those like, oh, it always works like this, just immediately fall apart.
Yeah, sure.
So it's
I
like
mean,
I
that is
wonder
true.
where things stay true outside of Western theory and which things do not. Which things are just self-contained, where it's like, well, hey, this is a nice way of looking at things, but this will not help you if you leave the realm of this particular genre.
Well, what do you mean by not Western theory? Like Indian music?
So any genre that's
Microtonality?
outside of classical genre. I think of Western as like classical genre. So Baroque, classical, romantic, you know.
Right.
Uh, and then if you leave that genre, if you go to like, you know, blues, bebop, or Arabian,
Okay,
Chinese
well, hold on a
here,
second.
like if you start
Bebop,
going to all
blues,
these other
these,
things.
but like bebop, blues, these are things that are based off the 12 tone scale. They come from the Western harmony system in some way.
Okay.
Just
So
because it's
12
not,
tone, I would say that 12, well, I guess so. Are you saying that as long as it's 12 tone scale, it's Western? I wouldn't say that, right?
I would say that, yeah,
You would? You think
yeah.
so if something is 12 tone, it is inherently Western?
Well, I guess it's not literally Western because they do this in the East too. In
Right.
parts of the East, they do it too. The 12 tone system that comes from fifths, call it that. It's kind of the universal thing, and
Mm-hmm.
that system is pregnant with possibilities. There's so many kinds of genres you can get from that, and because I think it's because it's based in physics, it lets you do so many things in a rich way, as opposed to something like a microtonal system, which isn't it's more complex on the surface because you have more notes, but
Mm-hmm.
the way you combine those notes doesn't seem to be as rich as what we get in our 12-tone system.
Yeah, because 12 tone
Makes sense.
is giving us is limiting us more to things that are harmonically sound, like more pure
It's just
colors. We are
it's just
limited
the
way more
right amount.
strictly
Yeah,
to that. Not
it's just the
completely,
right
but
amount of
more
complexity.
so than microtonal stuff, right?
Well, the nature of the complexity of the 12-tone system seems to lend itself to more meaning as conscious beings who experience meaning. There's so
Hmm.
much
Hmm.
meaning possibility in there that
It's
I
much
could
more
be ignorant.
vibrant, right? Everything is much
There's
more
more meaning. I
vibrant.
mean, like
Yeah.
the syntax of classical music comes from this 12 tone constraint. It's a constraint, and it's
Yeah.
also
Uh,
um, it's just complex enough to let you do everything you want to do, but not go off the rails in like La La Land because you get a trillion different notes. Like in theory, between C and C sharp, you could have a billion notes, but
of
that's
course.
not useful to us as conscious beings who want to experience feelings and stuff. So
I think it's contextual. I think it's complete. I
yeah.
think that is again. I think depending on, I think you could. I look when I hear you say that. I don't
Mhm.
see a limitation. I see a challenge. I go, oh really? Okay, I'm gonna write a piece that proves you wrong, and I bet I could. I bet somebody, if somebody
Probably.
wanted to, they could find a way to. That is the entire pursuit of art, is to find ways to make things that may seem on at first as um not something that would be compelling. Can you find a
It's
way
it's
to use it
it's
as a
very
tool to make it
possible in
compelling?
theory. It's very possible in theory that you could double the amount of notes in your scale, have a 24 note
Right.
system,
Yeah.
and create a rich diverse
Hmm.
tapestry of genres and
Hmm.
meaning.
There
It's
are.
possible in
There
theory.
already
It's
are.
possible in
Yeah,
theory.
there are genres that will use microtonal, and
They
it's
do
a
use it,
they do lean on it
but
for.
but the argument that I'm trying to it's not really
Yeah.
an argument. It's my understanding of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
12
Yeah.
tone system is that it is so full of possibilities. We go from Bach to the Beatles to jazz. I mean, there's so many kinds of ways to express meaning
Hmm.
uh,
Hmm.
in that system of 12. I'm not saying it cannot be done to that extent in like a 24 tone system, but I haven't
Yeah.
personally seen that degree
Hmm. Hmm.
in a different system. I know there's
Yeah.
music in those, but I haven't seen that richness of expression from left to right.
Um.
It's so
So I
much
don't I don't
things.
I don't think I would be very I would hesitate a lot to assume that just because there hasn't been doesn't mean there is not possible.
Right,
That just because it hasn't been done doesn't mean that it means that it's just like I think it just means that the things that are in the diatonic realm are way more intuitive to write, whereas it may not be the answers to create
yeah,
something that is very compelling in a 24 tone may not be as intuitive. We might not understand or have researched that as much as we have researched and figured out and played around with and like delved into. Because of course, I think the 12 tone is much more easily digestible and it's much more harmonious. So it's just easier
yeah.
to kind of just to plug in. It's just easy. It's just much more digestible.
That's why I
Yeah.
said in theory, I say it should be possible to do the same thing
Yes.
with more
Yes.
notes.
Has it been
Uh,
done historically? Maybe not.
Not on Earth,
Um,
not on Earth, but who knows if there are aliens who have different systems. But we don't know,
yeah.
you know. So it's
Okay,
um,
so yeah, quick thing also is like I know that like Jacob Collier, right? I know maybe not your
yeah.
favorite,
I
whatever,
dislike him.
but okay, so but Jacob Collier talked about one thing I want to say actually that's really cool about the whole scale evolution thing is he have you heard of his super mega ultra omega something something Lydian scale?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Okay, so it's the one where we're doing this is literally what we're doing, right? We're going so raises the fourth and then raises the fourth again and then raises the fourth and then just keeps raising that fourth to create um that tritone, right? The tritone is key to what we think of when we think of Lydian, right? And tritone position of the tritone is probably the most important thing about a diatonic scale. So the Lydian
Yeah.
mode is like this tritone position being at the beginning is what makes it that. And also, I wanted to point out one thing. Hansi's been typing a fucking storm, but I wanted to point out one thing that was really crazy that he said. Uh, um, a pure major chord is microtonal. No, I think you're right in a way, right? Just intonation technically is not following the 12 tone temper tuning that we deal with. I do think we're still dealing with the
Right.
12 tones when we're dealing with the perfect
Yeah.
fifth. It's just that they
Yeah.
don't line up the way that so you can shift. So that's the whole magic and fun of it. I think to me is that the microtonality I think the most compelling way to use microtonality is to use it to swing the way we're hearing harmony. So you're hearing things in tune more or less depending on how in tune to each other they are. I think it's all relative. So relative tuning, I think, is basically what we're talking about here. And I think that would be a better term than just intonation is relative tuning, right? So like relative tuning would mean that you are thinking consciously about these particular things, like how in tune certain notes are to each other. And then you might hold on to something, like say you have this fifth and then you tune the E down to the D and the B down to the D again. So all of it, let's say, tunes down, but then maybe all these notes then move up in some way, like maybe they all move like this, but not like
Mhm.
that, but they all move a little bit to then all tune to the B instead. Now they're all in tune to the B, and that would change, that would move the notes in certain ways. Maybe you could do the math on this and figure out where the
Right.
microtonal positions are ideal to create the most like interesting intonation kind of like jumps, juggling, and dances there. When I listen to Jacob Collier's stuff, he does, I think, actually think about this stuff. He does tune to different notes, and he chooses different points of reference for tuning. And
Well, you know,
for
it's
as a
interesting.
topic generally, regardless of Jacob Collier, I find that really intriguing and fun to think
It
about.
is. You know, it's interesting. We use microtones constantly in music. When you do vibrato, you're doing it. When you bend a note
Sure,
on your
of course.
violin,
I
you're
think it's
doing
the
it.
bending without a specific thing. Yeah, it's really hard. But I think you could notate like, hey, I want you to tune to this note, and then I want this note to be in tune with that note. And so you could actually, I think, notate and to get somebody to play a certain way. And I've thought about this as well with orchestras. Like, I imagine if an orchestra was like thinking as a section how they're going to tune against another section of the orchestra, and you
That'd be
used
wild.
relative tuning to like get a certain effect or certain,
Trust
way
me,
that the harmony.
like they can barely stay in correct tune with each
I
other.
know, but professional orchestras, I think, are more capable, and I think that would raising, and then if you see that and go like, oh my god, this is so fucking cool, wouldn't that be like a reason to then like even more push our abilities on the instrument to be very precise, and that would then open up doors for like for performances that are even more impressive, even more again demonstrative of human ability. I feel like that would be, I don't know, because if you're listening for it, you can hear if the fifth is off by that 2 cents. I can hear it. I can hear the
Oh
two
yeah.
cents off on this. So if I can hear that, I of course will be able to tell. I mean, in chamber music, when you're playing chamber music, you are relatively tuned to each other to try to make harmony sound, and you're juggling, like what is it called? You're doing like compromises on like which intervals are more important to be in tune, depending on the context of the music all the time, right? Even when you play classical genre music, like all of it, and whenever you play chamber music without a piano, you're dealing with this.
Yeah, I think it's called giving importance or giving weight to. I think piano tuners call it giving weight to. Like
Yeah, when
when
you're
you give
tuning a
weight to the
piano, you're
fifth.
also making these decisions. Like even on a
Yeah.
piano, as a tuner, that's such a difficult job because you're looking at all of these ratios and figuring out what the compromises are going to be best for the even for the
Some
particular
tuners
piano you're
like to
on.
give some tuners like to give more weight to the fifth. Some like to give more weight to the fourth when they're doing their thing.
Hmm.
It depends on their technique, what they like, you know. So like
Hmm.
giving weight to it, giving importance to it. I think like barbershop people do this in real time.
Yes,
They have to.
yes, yes. That's why I love barbershop quartets and just how they sound. It's so fun. Yeah, in choir you try to sing just intonation. That is why the choir usually intonates the whole piece lower at the end, lower than when they started. Interesting. Interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, barbershop harmony is it's so cool. Yeah. Oh my God. Um, yeah, I kind of I just want to keep going and going and going, but girlfriend made dinner, so I kind of like
Man, you've been rolling for
I'm
4.5
stretching that
hours
all
now.
out.
You've been going for 4.5 hours.
Yeah, I should stop soon here. But what should I stop on? So relative to so yeah, so your whole so the question of like um you brought up like um the different genres using the different tools for this, trying to like see how this would wrap back up to the stuff from before. What is useful? The question is like, what is a useful way to compare one scale to another scale? I think relative keys is a very useful way of thinking about scales, and it's actually one of the main things I have in my theory book as a category. You have the main category, which is how many notes are in your scale. So you have
Mm.
heptatonic, which is the classic 7-note scale. You have pentatonic, also on the same tier, right? Pentatonic would be a 5-note scale.
The Egyptian, I believe, was 5 note scale. Yeah.
Yeah, the Egyptian was a 5-note scale. So the how many notes are in your scale is the number one, the biggest category. From there, you go to the type. So diatonic is one of the types, and then you have all 532 types in here. But you also have the subtype. So you don't actually have 532 unique scales. You have 532 scales, some of which are actually rotations of other scales,
Right.
which is with the
Right.
whole relative keys. So relative keys is absolutely, I fully subscribe to relative keys being a fantastic tool to grouping scales together. Because if you can rotate through the scales, you're not changing notes. So if you're not changing notes, that is a huge factor in whether moving around between those scales is going to how that's going to feel versus going to a scale where there are foreign notes that are
Right.
outside of the restriction that you've set for
Right.
yourself with a particular
Yeah.
color. But parallels keys, I do think I do wonder if parallel keys has any merit almost at all. It maybe have some superficial merit, but I like when it comes to just like hearing, I wonder at all if this actually matters to someone, let's say, who's writing music and trying to figure out, um, you know,
Mhm.
yeah, I have no idea. So the conclusion is I know nothing.
No, that's not true.
I'm just kidding. For those listening.
How many viewers are on?
3 apparently. According to this thing, it says 3.
That's including
Let's.
me.
Oh, I don't think we have anyone outside of our group here right at the
Okay.
moment, which is fine. That's the big reason also that I'd rather stream with someone chatting. Hansi says, okay, yeah, I am putting my phone next to me. I'm gonna shut up now. 4 more new messages. I love City Barber Harmony. Someone will want
He's
to
never
go
gonna
through
speak to me.
that theory and someone won't. Yeah, I mean, I guess. I mean, there are people who write very intuitively, like intuition. Yeah, it looks like Hansi. Hey, my girlfriend's watching too. Joel, you are not lurking my stream.
Oh, sorry. I've just
I
been in
will say
Discord.
it's a rule. You have to, if you're here, you have to be lurking for the view count.
Oh, really?
Gotta raise our view count. Raise our view
I don't
count.
know. I'm not sure if I saw the link.
Oh,
Where's the
it's in
link
my
at?
Discord. It's my main Discord here in the welcome.
Oh gosh.
Twitch.tv/musical ties. It could not be more simple, Joel. I'm
I
just kidding.
apologize, bro. I apologize.
Get our view count up. Let's go. You know, we had
Oh,
a random viewer. I don't know. You were kind of muted that last time, but we actually had someone stop by,
oh,
which
sweet.
was cool. And they asked questions, and they were great questions, and it was fun. It's tons of fun.
That's really neat. Yeah, just keep doing it, and you'll get more and more people like that.
Hmm.
For
Oh
sure.
yeah. Yeah, when you search up a tag for music theory or music analysis, you literally get nobody on Twitch, by the way. So we would be literally completely undefeated for anyone who would look that up. We literally have a monopoly on music theory analysis on
Right, we're
Twitch.
champions. We're the
Currently.
champions.
Hopefully that could change. Maybe it'll inspire more content creators and collabs. That would be fun. I think that would only be for the best.
Exactly.
Oh man. Okay, yeah. Fun chat for sure. Um,
That's good.
yeah.
It was a good sesh.
Yeah, I definitely I think I will come back to this as a topic to talk about like game music and what scales are commonly used for what kind of genres of games and stuff. We've
Mm.
kind of basically, to summarize, we talked about how Dorian in Windrose, the game about pirates, Dorian is everywhere. Actually,
Yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean. Last thing is
Yeah, you were talking
what
about
key is
pirates.
Pirates of the Caribbean in? It's not Dorian though, right? Is it? I think it's in a classic minor. Yeah, it's in a classic minor. Oh, I should do strings, actually. I should do strings with my sound. Let's see how it'll sound. What if I do both? Nah, let's just do strings, yeah. Oh, gorgeous. Oh my god, it's so
Very nice.
gorgeous. I love it. So it is in classic minor. And then G minor. So you have this B flat. Yeah. So Hans Zimmer takes advantage of the lowered six to create this major harmony. He really takes advantage of this comparison, right? And then you have the 5. Oh no, there's a C natural. Oh no, but it's still minor. No, it is. No, it's natural minor. It is natural minor. Natural minor has the 7/6, 7/8 whole step. It does.
Right. It
But
does.
that is the same as Dorian. Dorian also has, but it's like a minor version. The lower 6. Yeah, so like Dorian has a little bit more cheer with the major 6.
Play the Dorian again.
Versus the natural minor will be,
Right.
yeah, the Dorian is the 6 is raised
Right.
in
Right.
Dorian. Versus
Yeah. So it's kind of a similar vibe to how Lydian in major is like a raised 4. Gives you that lifting feeling. And then normal, the
yeah.
Dorian
That's
has a
right.
lifting
That's
too.
right. Dorian and Lydian both lift in
They
some
both
level.
lift you up. Yeah. Interesting.
Dorian and Lydian. You know why? You know why? Because they're relative minor major to each other.
Are they really?
They are.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love it.
Because they're relative keys. Well, of course
Love
they're
it.
relative keys because they're literally part of the whole thing. But it's relative major minor to each other. Yeah, Lydian
Right.
is the
Right.
major and the Dorian is the minor. The same way that Ionian is the major and Aeolian is the minor.
Exactly. That's so cool.
There's a reason. I love when there's a thing that like clicks and makes sense, like on the theory side, the same way that it makes sense when you hear it. That
On the
I
intuitive
love.
side,
That
yeah.
I fucking love. That is what I want theory to feel like everywhere. If it could feel like that
Yeah.
everywhere, man, oh, it'd be so good.
Because
God.
I mean, really,
That's the whole point. It
that's what
should
the theory
feel,
is to
when you talk
something.
about it, you should feel like connections that you see on the page should be the
Yeah.
exact same connections that you feel when you're like, when you're hearing the music.
Yeah, I mean, it's describing that thing, you know? It's
And if it's not the same, then there's some room for improvement for me. I think there's
and
some
it's
room for improvement if that's the case.
and if a teacher is not able to, get that across to a student, if it sounds to a student like these are just a bunch of arbitrary names and shit that were
hmm hmm
slapped on here,
hmm
if that's how they feel, then the teacher isn't doing their job because
hmm
that's not what it is.
That means there's a more optimal way of connecting the
Yeah,
dots of the information that we understand about music
yeah,
and how it works.
yeah,
There is a more optimal way to do it, and that's like my whole passion of like I want to optimize my theory book to better describe all these things in a way that I think there's room for improvement, basically. Yeah. So even for my sake as well, because I think that if I had a better kind of way of thinking about it, I would have a much more like um what's it called, streamlined process of like figuring out
mhm,
how to change color in a piece of music or like how to find the next thing I want to go to. um yeah, just understanding how things work. It doesn't cook you a perfect meal, but it definitely gives you a good starting point for like understanding what the fuck you're doing when you're cooking food, what the fuck is happening. so
yeah,
so theory is not going to give you a perfect dish, but it'll help you make sure that each step is informed. I think that's the
yeah,
best way. You're making informed
this way.
decisions, but it's not going to choose which decision to make. It's just going to make your decisions more informed to understand the theory.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
I
put
think
it
the
this
best
way,
way.
it doesn't hurt. That's like the most bare, basic way to put it, it doesn't hurt. To
Yeah,
study theory, it won't hurt you. It'll only
but
help you.
it could if you learn it in a poor way,
It
because then you
well then, yeah, I mean,
that so
if you're learning something in a bad way, your application's bad or whatever, yeah, but if you yeah, of
bad theory.
course. Bad theory, yeah.
Bad theory.
Oh
It's like
god.
the what is it? The Batman slap. That's me when I
Yeah.
hear. Uh, music theory can't hurt you. It's not real, Hansi. Music theory isn't real. It can't hurt you.
Will you
Famous
check under
last
my bed
words.
for theory?
Huh?
Will you check in my closet for theory?
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Checking your
Scary
closet
theory?
theory. Scary theory.
Check under my bed for
I'm
theory?
a closet theorist. Haven't come out of my closet yet.
My
I don't
theory
know.
closet.
My theory closet. It's
I
where I
can just
hide all
see
my. It's where I hide all my. I don't know. Something I can't come up with anything right now.
what's that,
Find a really
Mike
obscure scale to throw out there. It's where
what's that Mike Judge film where, like, he goes to the future and, like, they're all stupid?
I don't know.
Idiocracy, that's it.
Idiocracy.
I can just see where, like, they have their own music theory and there's full of just illogical, like, reasoning of why things are the way they are, like, inconsistent,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's bad theory.
That's a blues pentatonic. Gosh, this like perfect fourth because it's like you go. Oh no, there's the tritone FB. Okay, you have the FB tritone.
We
So
call
you have
this
to
a
have.
major chord because
I do think.
it sounds real major.
Yeah.
It was invented in the military by a major,
Hmm.
and that's why we call it that.
I think this chromatic motion between like the fifth and this chromaticism is like key to any
Mhm,
blues scale. Like you see it all over. Look at this F sharp G. So the fourth, the tritone, and the fifth are all permitted equally. So if they're all equally present in your music, you basically have
mhm,
this blues. Like you can see now the parallel
right,
here. The blues is always going to have this three notes in a row that are half steps. And see those space bars, the spaces allow you to see kind of also the intervals that you get. I love this website. Fucking, oh, I'm so glad I didn't lose it because I was like, oh, I can't
yeah,
find it because I thought I pinned it somewhere for myself.
mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, and the chromatic, of course. Okay, probably pause there for the stream. Thanks, guys, for
Yeah,
joining.
get you
Thanks,
some good
Hansi.
eats.
I am freeing you from your theory prison, closet prison. Because I
Wait,
feel like if I
what
keep
we actually
going,
free
theory
you
Hansi
about
will
that?
literally never get off. It will never happen. Yeah. So, yeah, this was
Sounds
fun.
good, man.
Have a good night, everybody. Yeah, I'll
Alright,
probably
see you guys
call it there.
next
Peace.
time.
Bye, Joel.
Bye.
Thanks, Hansi and Reed. You guys all were here as well. See you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.